Level design is normally something that I struggle with when making games. I feel like I have an easy time creating mechanics for my games, but making levels that fit those mechanics is the most challenging part of the whole process. As a result, I don't really consider level design at all until I have the main character really figured out. Otherwise, if the gameplay changes down the line, all of the levels would likely need to be updated to accommodate those changes. My game clearly had no thought put into the level design. Up until now, it's just been a small, empty area that you can move around and fight some enemies in. And I'm sure some playtesters have been disappointed in the lack of content, but I feel like many people understand that the early phases of development are really focused on game feel more than anything else. Even though it's a basic empty area, it's still fun to roll around and go swimming and hit the enemies. And it became fun over the course of the 7 months that people have been playtesting and giving me feedback, all mostly within this small little area without much to do. Now that I'm more confident in how the main mechanics feel, it was time to start building the actual world that the game was going to take place in. Normally, like I mentioned earlier, this is the hardest part for me. However, I've been working on this game for so long now, and because I've been coming up with new ideas during that time, the level design process is going very smoothly for me. I have the main general area mostly planned out on paper, and now that I'm just executing that plan, it's actually pretty fun. There's a few sections available so far. There's a forest area, a hidden cave, and a town. Past the town is the entrance to the dungeon, which I haven't mentioned until now because I'm actually planning to scrap the whole procedurally generated dungeons thing. Even though I know how I could make improvements to the algorithm I wrote to generate these dungeons, I still think that hand designing the different levels will end up being a better experience. I may be able to repurpose this system later on, but for now it's just here for testing out the combat. The boss will still be in the game, but I already have a new home for him. You might have noticed during the gameplay footage that the sunflowers act as save points. That's another recently implemented feature, a proper main menu with save files to choose from. The whole thing is really fast, and I like that saving at the sunflower is instant. The part of the game that I'm most recently proud of is the new music, which I made myself. Before this, the last song I made was from 5 years ago, which is the song that eventually got used for my mobile game Necrozone. Even though it's been a while, I was able to ramp up really fast with music production, and I made some cool sounding songs. The cave song in particular is my favorite. All of the new songs are still works in progress, and I'll be adding more to them over the course of development. But regardless, I think that they act as a really solid foundation for the background music, and the tracks mesh really nicely with the dungeon music, which was made a while ago by RMD Compositions. The game has a pretty good start so far, and I think that progress will be more noticeable from this point on, now that I'm not working on things like the saving and loading system and a bunch of menus. The goal is still a Steam demo in the next few months, and that's when the official game name will be announced. Thanks for the support, and thank you so much for watching.